Hello there. As you may or may not know, I am slowly working towards building up a little convict army to go up against some local free settlers and British officers in my own little historical recreation of the Second Battle of Vinegar Hill, or the Rouse Hill Rebellion. And so I've got the little convicts, I've got the soldiers, they're happening very slowly. But if I've got the soldiers, then I obviously need the terrain, which I have very little of. So I guess a good place to start is trees, specifically gum trees. That's what we're going to be working towards right now. That's what I'm trying to do. So I looked at some cheap and free ways that I can make some nice little gum trees that would work for my 72 scale little dudes. And I looked at, like, you can buy gum trees, you can get like coral leaf branchy things and make them stretch out very long. And then I saw some people making little cheap and easy trees out of actual foliage, actual bushes and stuff like that. And so I had a genius idea. How about a cheap option, for me personally at least, would be to make gum trees out of gum trees. So these are like little gum tree branches that come off of a gum tree. Now, contrary to popular opinion, a gum tree is not like a single type of tree. There's all sorts of different types of gum trees all over the place. Now, the long, tall, skinny ones are the ones that most people think of when they're trying to make their own little mini gum tree things. That's the ones I could find. But they don't have to be. As I heard them once described, they're kind of like a Dr. Seussian nightmare. Some are squat, some are really branchy, others only have a few branches, some have lots of leaves. There's quite the variety. So, basically, if I got an actual branch and I picked and choose from here, I would be able to make my own gum trees. So let me show you what I kind of did to make something that I'm pretty happy to work with. So unsurprisingly, the first thing I did was break off a little bit of branch that I was happy with. As you can see, most gum trees have their little gum nuts that you are going to want to get off there, because otherwise your gum tree is going to have the largest gum nuts you've ever seen in your life. You don't want your tree to have too big of nuts, let's be honest. So yeah, you get those gum nuts off, but also you give the branches a little prune, because ultimately that looks like a twig. But if I can reduce it down to like the main branches and have them not be too long, and get it down to something that looks just about right, something that looks like an actual tree that might be growing. So I whittled it down to something that I'm pretty happy with. I like the look of, that kind of looks like an actual tree would look. And so that's what we'll go for. And as I said, there are lots of different types of gum trees. There are ones that are really tall with their long, skinny trunks. You can get stubbier ones. You can even have ones that like really bend over. They get manipulated by the natural elements and wind and landforms and stuff. So there is more variety than just, I need to make it really tall and skinny with a few branches. You can muck around with it. Okay, so the next bit involves a sharp knife, which is probably always a bad idea when you're not very good at this sort of thing. No, the next bit involves basing. Now, obviously, everyone's got their own little basing techniques, so by all means, just go with whatever works for you. But what I did, because I'm a cheapskate, is I got some of those sort of like foam soft things you put on the bottom of the chair so they don't scratch your floorboards. I got some of them, and I got myself some washers because I want something a bit heavy to keep this very top heavy type little construction down. And yeah, basically I just got myself my sharp knife. Look away, children, don't do this at home. Chuck my little hole in there. Make sure you thread the washer between the tree and the foam basey thing. And then, A, because you've got yourself an ugly washer, and B, this tree's not really in there all that stable just yet, I chucked on some glue tack. That's right, nothing but the best here. And everyone is sitting around going, what on earth are you doing? Fair enough, you do it a better way. Because I'm an idiot, as this, the title does say. And glue tack that down. Oh, I forgot something. If you want to make your job a lot easier, you peel off that paper stuff, so that way everything's getting stuck down. The ring gets stuck down, the glue gets stuck down, and more importantly, the sand gets stuck down. So I got some, again, nothing but natural stuff from the local Australian wilderness. This is actual beach sand from a local beach, and anyone's like, oh, you can't use beach sand, that's too coarse. But you forget, I live on the East Coast. Beautiful fine sand. Really nice stuff to be using. But basically, you glue up your base, you dip it in that, and you end up with a nice little coating of sand that you can then be painting over later. and you have yourself the beginnings of your tree. Now, here's the thing. You actually could leave the tree like this. In drought-stricken parts of the country, it is not all that surprising to find dead gum trees. And if you're going for sort of like an ominous Australian Gothic type feel, then absolutely having a whole bunch of dead gum trees could actually be quite a good little atmospheric trick. But obviously you do want a bit of greenery and a bit of variety on the board. We want to get some leaves on this thing. So there are the obvious solutions for cheap people who are trying to save money. I did get myself some scouring dishcloths that would do the job, chopping them up all fine. I also found this stuff in a $2 shop. It wasn't literally $2, it might have been like $3, which must be like £2 somewhere in the world. Again, stuff, little furnace stuff for like, I don't know, decorating flowers or something like that. So be able to use that for all sorts of different terrain things. Cut it up fine if you wanted to get it a little bit more leafy. But look, in the end, I did just buy myself some normal flocking type stuff. It's not overly expensive. This is probably the most expensive part of the whole process. It was like, I don't know, $15, whatever that is. Who's it from? Woodland Scenics. Of course it's from Woodland Scenics. So I got myself some olive leaves for this. For the tree, I thought olive looked a bit better than anything that looks too lush. You do want a little bit of yellow and dryness in your gum leaves. I remember flying over to New Zealand and looking down at their grass and thought, my goodness, I've never seen green until today. But what I then did was I got this stuff and I got our branches, and because I'm a complete idiot who doesn't know what I'm doing, I did use some of this stuff to stick along the branches. I also tried to do it with PVA, but PVA took too long to dry and all the stuff kept falling off everywhere. I've got no idea what I'm doing. But this stuff does all right. Stick it along the branches, you sort of get that clumping flock and get it on there as best you can. It's fiddly, it's faffy, it's why I'm not showing you now, because basically you can go find someone else who's better at doing it than I am, and apply the flock to our little tree. Now, one thing I do know is that once the flock was on there, you can't just sort of leave it hanging there. It's all going to slowly crumble off. So I did make myself some sort of little glue mixture and sprayed it with a spray bottle. Not too hard, nice and far away, because if you do it right next to it, squirt, all the leaves come flying off. So, hold it nice, a little bit further back, get it like to be a mist. You want a mist, and you want to mist all the leaves in order to get them covered in a bit of glue to be stuck on. And the end result is this sort of thing, which I'm pretty happy with. So this is my gum tree, which is pretty much the final product. I probably will go back and stick a bit more gum leaves on there, because as you can see, it's pretty weedy and pathetic on the whole. But I do have to say that is actually kind of how gum trees go. Most of the leaf canopy is up high on the ends of the branches, not so much along. So absolutely, this one needs way more. But don't be too afraid to have it all be sort of like tucked up at the top, as opposed to spread out throughout the entire thing. These gum trees do not get a nice rounded sort of bushy look to them. It's really just on the top, kind of like weird skeletal mushrooms is the best way I can describe it. But because I've got that glue on there, all this stuff's staying on rather nicely, so that's stuck on really well. Again, cheap, easy, quick. That's the main thing about all of this sort of stuff. So I'll be able to knock together as many of these gum trees as I can relatively quickly. Really quickly. So that'll be able to have a nice table full of foliage and forest for my fun game. Alliteration. Did try to make another one with some of that sort of $2 shop like florist stuff. That was the kind of the result. Not super happy with it. But if you go onto YouTube and have a look around at how people flock trees better than I can, you can do it too. My main point is simply this. Find yourself a bushy, brackeny type plant and trim out most of those little extra twiggy bits, and you can have something that does look like a gum tree. Or, I don't know, some other gum tree type bush. Get some variety on your play space. Anyway, that's this idiot who's trying to make some cheap and nasty trees. I'm relatively happy with the results. I don't know if this was useful or not, but I hope it was at least entertaining. I'll leave you with some pictures, and I hope you'll see me again soon. Goodbye.